Hi, my name is David Pieklik. I'm the Economic Development Director for Citrus County. So I would say as starters, for those that are looking to, look at their plans, consider plans, you're getting ready to graduate or you've got a couple of years to go, don't be afraid to explore, to take some time to consider it. You're not necessarily going to know everything at this point of your life, and that's a good thing. Each day you're going to experience different things, new things. That's going to give you a lot of exposure to things that you've never experienced before, never done before. So you're not going to be expected to have all the answers right now, and certainly I didn't. I started out as a science major, got out of college and was a journalist, and now I'm in economic development. So I've done a lot of scenic tours, if you will, when it comes to career changes, and you're going to be expected to do the same things, and maybe not such a circuitous path as me, but you're going to be expected to get out there to maybe be in a position for a few years, move into something else. Just listen to that voice inside of you, that voice that excites you. You're going to know when you do certain things, even if it's the most basic of tasks, you're going to feel what excites you, what maybe doesn't. For me, I don't necessarily like math, so there's certain engineering jobs or whatever that I probably wouldn't be cut out for, or accounting, certainly not. But if you like to put things together, to work with your hands, to just get dirty, whatever, that's going to certainly give you an indication of what you might want to be starting to look at down the road. So don't be afraid right now. Get out there. Whether it's volunteering, there's a lot of opportunities out there to volunteer, to get exposed to things. Talk to friends, talk to family, teachers, you name it, classmates. I would say certainly if there's things that are starting to interest you, you really know at this point that, I like whatever that is, I just really don't know a lot about it. Again, there's a variety of things that you can do. Certainly YouTube, with all the videos that are out there, you can certainly look for things, just certain keywords. Whether it's industrial engineering or physical therapist or whatever, there are certainly keywords you can use that will give you any number of videos that will give you more insight. That's kind of if you don't necessarily know where to go, around here, for instance, that certainly will at least give you an exposure of what that job looks like from somebody that does it him or herself. And so, again, just observe everything. Listen to that voice. Observe what's going on around you, how it resonates, how it connects with you, and that will certainly help you down the road. One thing, that I look at is certainly, you've got any number of job descriptions out there. So you can work with CareerSource, for instance, Indeed, Monster, any number of things where you're going to see certain words that are associated. So, when you're looking at things like your information technology jobs, you're going to look at any number of things from coding, programming, analytical skills, you name it. So that will certainly give you a kind of a better idea of, is this a right fit for me? Do I, get squeamish at the sight of blood? All right, well, maybe a nurse practitioner is not the best, but, I kind of like the idea of if somebody's got a sports injury, the idea of helping them get back into that sport that he or she loves. That might be, something where it's just as simple as that. And so you know that you've got options. There are no such things as dead ends. There's just detours. Again, I went through several changes before I finally got to where I'm at, and I really enjoy where I'm at. So don't be afraid for changes. And so that kind of leads me to the next thing, which is, you're going into your classroom every day, and you're learning the basics. You're learning your mathematical skills, your English skills, your philosophy, your any number of things, history. But there's skills that you're also picking up. They're going to be just as critical for you as you get into whether it's college, military, or whatever. And those are, of course, called the soft skills. Hard skills are your basic, you're going into class and you're getting those, engineering skills or your architectural or your, medical skills. You've got hard skills, but you've also got soft skills, which are just as important. And there's a few that I want to hit on because those, no matter what job you get, you're going to kind of set yourself out apart from the rest of those that are looking for those same jobs by having certain skills. And so one, for instance, is your ability to adapt. Certainly, you've had to do your share of adapting recently with the coronavirus, virtual school, virtual learning. Might have seemed fun for a while, and now it's probably back to if you've still got to do a lot of the virtual stuff, it's probably you just really understand how much you love the face-to-face. But you've been able to persevere, you've been able to make it. So being able to adapt. When things change, it doesn't throw you off. It doesn't frustrate you. You're able to just kind of go with it. So that's big. Being creative, not just being able to come up with a solution to a problem, but be creative with the solutions. You're not always able to, grab your phone and Google or something, or, put it up to your friends on social media of, hey, do you have a suggestion for this or that? When you're in a work situation, a lot of times you have to come up with an answer in a split second. So certainly being able to not just think on your feet about what that answer is, but certainly being creative, because with careers, innovation, creativity, it often leads to new things, whether it's inventions, processes, or whatever. That means money, that means time saved, that means keeping ahead of the competition. Those are all things that an employer is going to really like to see in their workers. And so having those abilities certainly will put you ahead of the game. There's another one called emotional intelligence, which actually is, we all have emotions inside. It's what makes us who we are. But there's going to be situations where maybe you get upset, or you're challenged, you get a little frustrated, or you get scared for that matter. How do you handle those emotions, and how do you turn them into positives when it comes to, again, problem solving, working with others, collaboration? Do you harness that adversity? Do you harness those challenges in a positive or a negative way? And not just that, but being able to, especially in the world that we live in now, a lot of times you might have to see somebody through a lens, like here, not necessarily in front of you. And so how are you at reading body language? Do you empathize the fact that people have their own emotions? They're not necessarily going to see something the way you do, but is that a good thing or a bad thing? We're all different. That's what makes us great. Being able to work with those different opinions, those different ways of looking at the world, that's huge. And you have to be able to do that. Leadership, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to be the CEO of a company someday. It's you're given a task to do. I'm going to take the initiative. I'm going to do this with basically as little instruction as needed. And I'm just going to run with it, and I'm going to show results. I'm just going to get to that finish line and have something that I can be proud of, my boss, or maybe I'm going to run my own business someday, and that's something that's going to really make my business that much better, that much more popular. So, again, work on those as you're going to classrooms. How do you work with your classmates? How do you treat your classmates, your friends? Those are all critical pieces as you're getting older and getting ready to graduate, or considering what your next step's going to be. So what are you going to do someday, and what do you have out there? Again, ask around, certainly explore, get out there, work, do a little bit just to see what excites you, and know that there certainly are opportunities that aren't that far from where you are now. If you want to stay here, great. We'd love to have you, and there's certainly opportunities for you to stay put. And so what I'm seeing right now, jobs that are going to not just be here as you're getting ready to graduate and decide what your next step is. These are jobs that are going to continue to grow for years and years and years. And again, the adaptability, some of these jobs, they might look a certain way now. They're going to evolve, they're going to change over the next several years, but they're still going to be there. And so I'll just give you kind of some examples. Healthcare. We all get older. It's just the way it goes. Right now it feels like you've got all these years ahead of you, and right now it's just about studying and preparing yourself. But before you know it, you're going to be walking down, getting your college degree, or getting out of the military, whatever. And so there's things that are the workforce is going to change, but there's definitely demands that are going to be out there. Information technology, that's another one. And that could be anything from coding to programming, system security, cybersecurity. You've probably heard a lot about, whether elections tampering or things of that nature, or big websites being hacked. That is going to be a huge thing. Cybersecurity, and actually there's classes taught right here in the county that gives you the ability to be able to create firewalls, create systems that certainly would prevent, cyber attacks from happening. Going back to healthcare, I mean, again, with healthcare, you've got any number of possibilities. You've got physical therapy, you've got respiratory therapy, you've got obviously surgeons, doctors. The population is going to continue to get older. There's going to be things that we've seen like through the coronavirus. There's going to be treatment needs, vaccination needs, research needs. So any number of those things are going to be constantly in demand. E-commerce is huge. You've probably at some point in the recent future either bought something or your parents have bought something through e-commerce or mobile commerce, m-commerce. And so with that, there's a lot of opportunities just from a shipping standpoint. You're helping actually sort the orders, process the orders, deliver the orders, or there's something called an industrial engineer, where you're actually analyzing that workflow, that process. So maybe as things are getting sorted and shipped, you realize, there's a better way of doing this. There's a quicker way of doing this. The more orders that go out faster, obviously, the more money that's being brought in, the better the company is in terms of a stability standpoint. And so those people are looking at ways to improve the process. They're looking at inefficiencies. So certainly if there's things that are costing money or delaying the process, they're fixing those. And industrial engineers, just like your surgeons and whatnot, you're looking at starting, you could make 70 to 100,000. And some of the companies, for instance, that are hiring, Google, Apple, Boeing, so some really, really reputable companies and names that you've all heard of. And as mobile and, for that matter, virtual continues, you're going to be looking at things that are evolving, changing. I mean, we've had interior designers for the longest time, but now with working from home being a huge thing and probably will stay to some degree, you're looking at, being able to come up with more effective ways of working from home. And again, going back to the soft skills, there's some that are going to be able to work from home, and there's some that are going to have to work on time management and, not getting distracted, whether it's watching your dog out back chasing squirrels or, wow, there's all these fun things at the house, being disciplined to not let those get in the way. And so you could be a coach, coaching people that are working from home on how to do just that, to avoid distractions, to manage time properly. So a virtual assistant, any number of careers like that. So you've got a lot of opportunities. And one of the things we're also working on right now, and I'm really hoping for success, is a grant program to start an aviation training program right here in the county. And so with that, you're looking at, it's called an airframe and power plant. So if you are excited about aviation, whether it's maybe being a pilot someday or working on a jet engine or a prop plane, or maybe you want to redo the cabin, be able to strip it out and turn a cargo jet into a passenger jet or vice versa. We're working on a program right now where we're hoping to start that up in the next year, and that would give you all a chance to get into aviation, kind of an exploratory where you can learn about flying, you can learn about operating what's called an unmanned aircraft system, also known as a drone. And if it really, really interests you, you can get into the A&P program where you're actually learning about thrust and certain terms like that, where you can work on engines, you can work on the power plant, you can work on the mechanical sides of an aircraft, and that again is a big career where you've got a lot of demands down the road. I mean, you're looking at thousands and thousands of jobs needed. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. And again, you've got to listen to that inner voice. That inner voice is going to be the compass that's going to lead you to what that next step's going to be. And I wish you well, and I know it's going to be an exciting journey.